If you want to take it a step further, here's what you could do. So from CRP, we're going to go through a number of repetitions of this movement. And it's going to be very small at first, and it'll gradually get larger and larger. Now, what you can do within this position is allow your knee to fall a little bit out to the side, just a bit, just until you feel the first hints of a catch within that movement, of a clutching here. So you don't need to go all the way out. There are no bonus points for pushing to your end range. But you can go through that a number of times, letting the knee fall to the side, bringing it back in. And as you do so, you might be curious what the quality of this movement is like. Does this feel like a smooth, controlled movement? Is this jagged in some way? Does the movement catch anywhere? Or do you find that you almost ratchet through the range of motion? And so as you go through this a number of times, can you see if each time through you make the movement a little smoother and a little smoother? And eventually, you might get to the point where you find that you're on the outside edge of that foot. And in that case, what you can do is let this movement grow organically in some sense. And you might begin to lengthen your foot away from yourself. A small amount, and then you could just return to that original position. And so again, each time through, ask yourself if you can make this movement a little bit smoother, a little bit easier. Again, what we're looking at is release here. Not stretching, not forcing, not pulling. So as you let your foot lengthen away from you, you'll find that your leg is making this gentle arc. It's a really beautiful shape when you really watch it and when you really experience it for yourself. And so it might take you 10, 20, 30 or so iterations of this movement to really find that you can lengthen your leg with a sense of ease, without rushing, without pushing. And when you do find that you get to that point where your leg is lengthened out and away from you, you might take a pause. Because this is a very different shape than this, right? As we've talked about, finding this length through the leg is pretty uncommon for a lot of us. So take a couple of moments here just to let your body acclimate to this. This is providing a whole new world of sensory information for your nervous system to process. So after you've taken a few breaths there, a few moments to really experience what has changed within your body, you might slide that leg back up. And at this point, you've got an option. You could repeat that on the other side, or you could roll through one side, make your way up to a seated position, and gradually you could make your way up to stand. And within the standing position, you might take a couple of moments and just check in with yourself and sense what's different about your experience of your body on the left side versus the right side. What are some of the signals that you get that you've worked with one side rather than the other, right? There are going to be subtle differences between the two sides at that point. And so within that standing position, you might just bring awareness to what has changed side to side. And of course, you might be tempted to go back through and balance it out. I'll say that you could go through and do that same process on the other side, but you don't necessarily need to, because your nervous system is very intelligent. And even going through that on one side, it will learn something about optimal organization. And you'll find that there's a certain amount of carryover to the other side as well. So even as you take a few steps walking around the room, as you carry on with the rest of your day, you'll find that some of these changes start to integrate themselves into the way your body functions. So, pretty cool, right?